Alright, today I'm going to be going over my Blight Expedition Pingpong farming strategy, which I will be using to kickstart the 3.25 league. The idea behind this strategy is that Blight requires a hyper-specific map layout in order to get the optimal rewards. The ones this league would be Toxic Sewer, followed by Carcass in the close second. And the reason why we want these maps is they have a narrow layout which forces Blight to have less Blight lanes, ideally forcing it down to a single lane. Because if you get a single lane, all the rewards are going to be Blight oils and blighted maps, and those are the main currency draw of doing this strategy. So this would mean you'd want a strategy that can self-sustain a single map, so you just keep repeating it over and over, and that would normally require we use Singular Focus. The problem here is that Singular Focus blocks blighted maps from dropping, so we can't use Singular Focus. Instead, we're going to use a strategy where we run all of our Toxic Sewers, and then we have a second Atlas tree where we run the connected map from Toxic Sewer, because it's very easy to force a ton of connected maps to drop with using map favorites. And then we'll use this expedition tree on these kind of throwaway connected maps. And the way you do that is you have all of your favorites for Toxic Sewer except for one, which is the best map that is directly connected to Toxic Sewer. So that is how you set that up. And the reason why the second strategy is Expedition is just because this tree is extremely good as your first Atlas tree. It just makes sense to do this sort of ping pong. All right, so when you start off getting into maps, we are going to go straight through the Betrayal nodes on our first Atlas tree. This is the one that's turning into the Expedition tree. I like to go June as the first mechanic because June gives a ton of experience, and my character is Archmage Spark, and the passives are very powerful all the way up until the end. So I'm going to want to hit early to mid 90s as fast as possible, and this is the best way to do it. Another bonus is that we're just going to be getting a lot of these crafts out of the way right away, and then we can forget about June later if we want. Also, the drops themselves are quite good, especially if you're playing SSF, since you can kind of think of it as you get 2 free crafts, so you're guaranteed to have 2 good modifiers on the item. If there's any other modifiers, maybe you can even just equip it. Alright, so this is the first tree. We spec all the way up to these shaping nodes. You're going to notice we take all the shaping nodes we can. Those just help with map sustain as well. And going through Kirak, every time you run a Kirak mission, it resets the vendor, and the Kirak vendor will be able to sell you new maps. Don't be afraid to spend your chance in alchemies to get map completions that way. And this just keeps progressing. We're going to grab all the Betrayal nodes. The reason why we save Expedition for last, right here, is because I think Expedition is just going to waste your time in white and yellow maps. It's not too rewarding there either. So we're saving this for the end of the tree. And after you get all the Expedition nodes, you can also grab the Shrine nodes as an option. For Expedition, you're going to focus on Tujin and Danig. Tujin rerolls are ways to get a bunch of nice currency early on, and I primarily use Danig simply to get more exotic coinage to get more Tujin rolls. I like to use Extreme Archaeology because it keeps things fast. Sometimes you will just brick your Expedition. It's going to have, in my case, immune to lightning damage, in your case, immune to whatever your damage type is, and who cares, just move on, skip it, go into your next map. The one thing I should note for this tree is that if you want June in literally every map, you can take these 2 nodes. This is personal preference. You still have a really high chance to get Betrayal. I don't really care if it's in every map, but I guess I will just leave it like this. This just will force it in every map. And at the end, it's 110 points. And you should probably have your 2 Void Stones. Once you get your 2 Void Stones, just cross your fingers that Carcass or Toxic Sewer is T13 or above, because once you can get one of those maps T13 or above, that's when we're going to want to start to do the Blight strategy in tandem. So the Blight strategy starts off with 93 points because it's our second strategy. The reason why the map needs to be T13 or above is because that's when you can start dropping golden oils, and it feels kind of a waste if you're running these maps and you can't even drop the best oil. Alright, so the Blight tree also has Alva, and this is specifically for all the Spark players, because if you're following my Spark guide, one of the first big upgrades is going to be a lightning coil, and the issue here is that Spark has a lot of blue gems and lightning coil is really hard to roll blue sockets. So what we're going to be doing for all the Spark players is buying a bunch of lightning coils and getting 6 sockets on all of them. Don't 6-link them. And then we're going to be running Incursion. Every 3 maps, you're going to get a new temple. Yeah, so we're chasing the Locus of Corruption. It's the 3rd tier. It goes Corruption Chamber, Catalyst of Corruption, and then finally Locus of Corruption. And that's where you double corrupt the lightning coil. So you have a 25% chance of getting 6 white, which is what we're chasing. You have a 25% chance of getting a double corruption. And for Spark, the best double corruptions are 50% reduced crit, 50% increased damage, +2 projectile skill gems, +2 duration skill gems. So if you get a combination of those, you might actually just want to use the double corrupted one. And I do want to say right here, Lightning Coil is going to be extremely meta and very sought after. So no matter what double corruptions you get, you should be price checking it and putting it up for sale, because you might make a lot of bank just in the process of getting the Lightning Coil you want to use. In order to 6-link the Lightning Coil, you first want to use your crafting bench to do a 4-link on it. And that should be really cheap, just a few Vol Orbs, a few Fusings. And now you have to hit a 50-50 twice, because you need to use a Tainted Fusing to go up to 5 and a Tainted Fusing to go up to 6. If it ever drops down to 3, do not use Tainted Fusing. Use the bench to make it back to a 4-link, and then, you know, you have the 2 50-50s again. So yeah, if your build can do Alva Temples, I do think this is a really good early strategy, regardless if you're playing Spark or not. But if not, this would be where you reappropriate the tree and grab whatever else you want on the left-hand side. There are a few different options. There's Ritual, there is Essence, I don't know, take your pick. And we are grabbing every single Incursion node, except possibly not Treasure Hunt. So when you're doing these incursions, you're going to want to see how much time you have left once you beat the incursion. And if you have between 20 and 30 seconds, you will want to take this. This gives you some treasure chests inside the incursion event, but every time you open one, it reduces your time in the event. So you have to have a fast character to be able to do this. And Spark is fast, but on day 1, you know, you'll have to just weigh your character and see if it can do that. Now, onto the Blight nodes. We take all of the Blight nodes, except this is similar to the Treasure Hunt, where you're probably not going to start with Immune Response or the Blight pack size, but you can build up to that once you feel very comfortable doing these maps. This will make it slightly harder, so it's not mandatory. So I think I've covered everything here, right? No, wait. There's 2 more trees. This is the base tree with 93 points, but we actually have some more progression. I suggest you use your next points to get shrines if your build is good with shrines. Spark is excellent with shrines, particularly acceleration and spell echo. And some other good nodes are quite obviously all of these 2% chance to drop a connected map, because we are doing the ping pong, so this is extremely high value. I haven't even chosen them all. There's some over here. There's just all over the place. So yeah, if you don't like shrines, or maybe you don't want the Alva, just make sure you grab all the 2% instead. It's very, very useful. All right, that's the strategy. If you've never done Blight before, I recommend you check out this other video I've released called Blighted Maps Farming Strategy. This is technically teaching you how to run blighted maps, which is what we're dropping from this strategy, but everything will apply to blights like inside the regular maps as well as blight-ravaged maps. It's all the same. So I'm showing you the ring annoyance you should get. The meteor towers burning ground on one ring, the powering towers have increased effect on the other, and eventually this gets replaced with this expensive Chilling Towers freeze enemies, but that requires a silver oil, so you're not going to do that right away. And these annoyance go with this strategy where you have some T4 meteor towers to do all your damage, all the heavy lifting. And then you have choke points where you have chilling, seismic, and power. Cap them at level 3, you don't go higher. And those will just stop the enemies from being able to move. And I go over, you know, some different map anoint options and just a commentary from a whole run. Bunch of info in here. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. We will be streaming this live on Twitch on Friday. Hope to see you there. Hope you guys have a good league start. The last thing I can leave you guys with is what my plans are for the 3rd Atlas tree. And that would likely be a strongbox farming strategy because I really like to do that. It's really good for Spark. But I don't want to commit to anything right now since we're just going to see how the economy is going, you know, see what the Scarab meta is, and then we'll release that probably a few days into the league. So you can look forward to that coming up soon. All right, peace guys.